Let's cut the fluff. The housing market is broken. If you are relying on Social Security, the math simply doesn't add up anymore. You are looking at a stark choice. Either work at Walmart until you are 90 just to pay rent, or you opt out entirely. We are talking about the shed life. Buying a cheap plot of land, dropping a $5,000 Home Depot shed on it, and living mortgage-free. But there is a massive problem. In 98% of America, this is illegal. Zoning laws, building codes, and HOAs were designed to stop you from living cheaply. They want you plugged into the system, paying high property taxes on a $500,000 house. If you try to live in a shed in the suburbs, they will fine you into bankruptcy. But we found the loopholes. We scoured the county codes to find the last 10 strongholds of freedom in the United States. Towns where you can buy land for the price of a used car, build a tiny home, and tell the bank to go to hell. From the deserts of Texas to the mountains of Appalachia, here is the freedom list. The 10 towns where you can legally live in a shed. Number 10. Spur, Texas. We have to start with the poster child. Spur calls itself the tiny house capital of America. And unlike most marketing slogans invented by desperate chambers of commerce, this one is actually legally binding. A few years ago, this dying town in West Texas made a radical decision. They realized their population was shrinking. Their main street was boarding up, and they were slowly turning into a ghost town. So the city council voted to abolish almost all square footage minimums. In most of America, if you try to build a house smaller than 600 square feet, the inspector laughs in your face and hands you a fine. In Spur, you can build a house that is 200 square feet, basically the size of a master bathroom, and they will throw you a parade. You can buy a lot right in town with access to city water and sewer, which is a massive luxury in this lifestyle for a few $1,000s. Sometimes less. We've seen lots go for $500 at auction. You can pull up a tiny home on wheels, as long as you eventually put it on a foundation, or you can build a barn dominium, or convert a tough shed into a cottage. It sounds like paradise, right? A utopia for the broken free? Well, let's talk about the gritty reality of West Texas. Spur is located in Dickens County, about an hour east of Lubbock, and Lubbock is already considered the middle of nowhere by most humans, and Spur is an hour from that. The landscape is flat, dusty, and relentless. There are no trees to block the wind, and the wind blows constantly. It is the kind of wind that gets into your teeth, your eyes, and your soul. It rattles the walls of your tiny house all night long. In the summer, the heat is a physical weight. It sits on your chest. You are looking at 100 degrees regularly. If you don't insulate that shed properly, you are essentially living in an oven. And visually, it's gritty. This isn't a hipster tiny house village on Instagram with string lights, fire pits, and avocado toast. This is a working-class agricultural town that is trying to survive. You will be living next to people who have lived here for generations. Ranchers, farmers, oil workers. They might look at your fancy tiny house and your desire to live simply with a bit of skepticism. There is a culture clash here between the locals and the tiny house people who move in from Austin or California. Also, freedom has rules here. While they allow tiny homes, they strictly ban RVs as permanent residences. You can't just park a camper and take the wheels off. You have to build something that looks like a house. It has to have a foundation. But if your goal is to own your land and your home for a total cost of under $30,000, Spur is the only place in America that is actively rolling out the red carpet for you. Just bring a lot of moisturizer, a high tolerance for dust, and maybe some earplugs for the wind. Number 9. Ava, Missouri. If Spur is the official capital of tiny living, Ava is the unofficial capital of I do what I want. Located deep in the Ozark Mountains, Ava is the county seat of Douglas County. And Douglas County is legendary in the survivalist, prepper, and off-grid communities for one specific reason: no building codes. Let me clarify that. It's not that the codes are loose. It's not that the inspector is lazy. It's that outside of the city limits, there are no building codes. None. Zero. You buy a piece of land, you dig a hole, you build a shack out of pallets, or shipping containers, or cordwood, or a shed you dragged in behind a pickup truck. Does it have plumbing? That's your business. Does it have electric? If you want it to. Is it structurally sound? If it falls on your head, that's your problem. The county inspector isn't coming, because the county inspector doesn't exist. This has made the area a magnet for homesteaders, religious communities, and people who just want to disappear from the modern world. The cost of living here is basement level. You can find acreage, real wooded acreage with a creek, for prices that look like they are from 1980. The geography is stunning. Rolling hills, dense hardwood forests, limestone bluffs, winding rivers. It is green and lush. You can hunt deer on your front porch and fish for trout in the river in your backyard. But here is the catch, and it is a massive one that the brochures don't mention. The infrastructure is crumbling. The roads are often gravel or dirt, and when it rains, and it rains a lot, they turn into a thick clay soup that will swallow a Prius whole. If you have a medical emergency, the ambulance ride is going to be long, bumpy, and potentially too late. And socially, it can be insular. Outsiders stick out. If you move here with a remote tech job, Starlink internet, and a shiny Tesla, you are going to have a hard time integrating. Also, the humidity. In July and August, the air is so thick you can chew it. Everything gets damp. Your shed needs serious ventilation or it will rot from the inside out. And the ticks. The ticks in the Ozarks are not a nuisance. They are an apex predator. You will walk through tall grass and come out covered in seed ticks. You will spend half your life checking your ankles. But if you want true, unadulterated freedom to build a castle or a shack without asking permission, this is the Holy Land. Number 8. Alamosa, Colorado. Specifically, we are looking at the area around Alamosa, covering counties like Costizhuaquiti and Conos. This is the Wild West of the modern era. If you go on eBay or Zillow right now and search for land, you will see 5-acre plots in Colorado for $4,000. You look at that and think, that's a scam, that's a typo. It's not. It's the San Luis Valley. It is a massive, high-altitude desert valley surrounded by the jagged Sangre de Cristo peaks. It is starkly beautiful. It feels like living on Mars. And for decades, it has been the go-to spot for people who want to live off-grid on the cheap. However, we need to have a very serious conversation about the Code War. For years, people moved here, parked an RV, dug a latrine, and lived for free. The county turned a blind eye. But recently, Costilla County cracked down. They got tired of the shanty towns, the piles of trash, and the sanitation issues. Now they require septic systems. They require permits. But, and this is a big but, compared to the rest of Colorado where a parking spot costs $1 million, the regulations here are still manageable if you follow the rules. You can build small. You can go solar. You have to. There is no grid for miles. You can live minimally. The real catch here isn't the law. It's the environment. We are at 7,500 feet elevation. The sun is intense. It will burn your exposed skin in 10 minutes. But the winters, brutal. We are talking temperatures dropping to 20 below zero. The wind screams across the flat valley floor at 50 miles an hour. If your shed isn't insulated properly, you will freeze to death. I am not being dramatic. People die here. And water is a massive issue. You usually have to haul it in. You will become a water farmer, driving your truck to the town kiosk, filling up a 500-gallon tank, and driving it back to your shed. You will learn to shower with a cup of water. You will learn that washing dishes is a luxury. This isn't glamping. This is subsistence living in a harsh environment. But if you stand on your $4,000 plot of land and watch the sunset turn the mountains blood red, you might feel like the richest person on earth. Just don't forget to drip your pipes. Number 7. Holbrook, Arizona. If the Colorado cold scares you, let's head south to the desert. Apache County, Arizona. This is the land of the painted desert and the petrified forest. It is alien, colorful, and barren. Apache County is famous for having some of the most relaxed zoning in the American Southwest. You can camp on your own land for quite a while. You can live in an RV if you have a septic permit. And shed living is basically the default architecture for the off-grid community here. Land prices are laughable. You can buy 10 acres of dirt for the price of a used Honda Civic. Sometimes you can get 40 acres for the price of a Kia. The terrain is flat, scrubby desert. You have endless sky. You have silence so deep it rings in your ears. If your Social Security check is $800 a month, you can make it work here. Property taxes are basically a rounding error, sometimes less than $50 a year. But the catch is isolation and desolation. Holbrook is the nearest town, and it's a Route 66 relic. It has charm, dinosaurs made of concrete, and old motels, but it doesn't have a Whole Foods or a major hospital. You are living in a place that wants to kill you? The summer heat is dry but intense. The wind blows dust into everything you own. You will find sand in your coffee, in your bed, and in your teeth. There is no water. You are hauling water. You are managing your own waste. You are your own power company. And the visual, let's be honest. Because there are no HOAs and no rules. Some parts of Apache County look like a landfill scattered across the desert. Your neighbor might be building a beautiful, sustainable earthship. Or he might be hoarding 50 rusted-out washing machines and shooting guns at 3 a.m. You don't get to choose. You bought freedom. And that includes the freedom to have a messy, loud neighbor. Also, beware of land scams. Some of this land is landlocked, meaning there is no road to it. Make sure you have legal access before you hand over your cash. Number 6. Newport, Tennessee. We are going back to the mountains, but this time, the Smokies. Cochran County has a reputation. In the old days, it was the moonshine capital of the world. It was where the bootleggers hid from the feds. It has always had a rebellious streak, a don't tread on me attitude that is baked into the soil. That attitude extends to building codes. Outside of the city limits of Newport, restrictions are minimal to non-existent. This is beautiful country. We are talking about mist rolling off the mountains, winding creeks, and hardwood forests. It is the kind of place people pay thousands of dollars to vacation in. But you can live here in a shed, a cabin, or a single-wide trailer for pennies on the dollar compared to nearby Asheville or Gatlinburg. The catch here is cultural and topographical. Topographically, the cheap land is usually on the side of a mountain. A steep mountain. You might need four-wheel drive just to get to your driveway. If it snows, you are trapped for a week. You need to be comfortable with heights and narrow, winding roads with no guardrails. Culturally, this is deep Appalachia. It is tight-knit. Families have lived on these creeks for 200 years. They are friendly, but they are wary. If you come in trying to change things or complaining about your neighbor's dogs or his rooster or his shooting range, you will not be welcomed. You might find a dead raccoon in your mailbox. There is also a drug problem in the region. The opioid crisis hit hard here. Property crime can be an issue in the poorer areas. You need to lock your shed. But if you want that mountain man lifestyle, if you want to disappear into the woods and grow your own vegetables without a mortgage, Cochran County is one of the last open doors in the East. Number 5. Terlingua, Texas. This is not a town, it is a state of mind. Located on the border of Mexico, right next to Big Bend National Park, Terlingua is an old mercury mining ghost town that has been resurrected by artists, weirdos, outcasts, and survivalists. There is no zoning. There are barely any rules. People live in old-school buses, shipping containers, limestone ruins, and sheds. The vibe is chaotic, artistic, and incredibly free. It's like Mad Max meeting a music festival. The famous Terlingua Porch is the town square, where billionaires drink beer next to people who live in caves. If you build a shed here, nobody is going to measure it. Nobody cares. The views are some of the best in North America. The Chisos Mountains rise up purple in the distance. The stars at night are so bright they cast shadows on the ground. The catch? It is the desert on hard mode. Water is gold. Most people rely on rainwater catchment, but it barely rains. You have to be aggressive about water conservation. You will learn to brush your teeth with a cup of water. The heat in June can exceed 110 degrees. If your AC breaks, you are in life-threatening danger. And it is remote. The nearest Walmart is in Alpine, which is 80 miles away. You don't just run to the store. Shopping is a day-long tactical mission. It takes a special kind of person to survive Terlingua. You have to be tough, and you have to be a little bit crazy. There is also a Lost Boys element here. People go to Terlingua to hide from the law, from ex-wives, from debt. You will meet some very colorful characters, and you will learn not to ask too many questions about their past. Number 4. Mountain View, Arkansas. Stone County is another gem in the Ozarks, but it has a different flavor than Douglas County. It calls itself the folk music capital of the world. Every night, people gather on the courthouse square to play fiddles and banjos. It is incredibly wholesome, but strategically, for the shed dweller, it is a fortress. Taxes are incredibly low. Building codes in the rural parts of the county are virtually non-existent. You can buy a wooded lot for $15,000, drop a prefab shed on it, and as long as you have a septic permit, which is the one thing they care about, you are good to go. The cost of living here is one of the lowest in the United States. Your dollar stretches incredibly far. The catch? It is wet. Unlike the dry heat of the West, Arkansas is humid. Your shed needs ventilation, or it will grow mold in a week. Also, the bugs. Mosquitoes, chiggers, ticks. The forest is alive and it wants to bite you. You will need to treat your yard, your clothes, and your dogs. And while the folk music is charming, the pace of life is slow, glacial. If you need high-speed internet to trade crypto or watch Netflix, you need to check the coverage map very carefully because digital infrastructure is spotty. Also realize that dry county laws are common in this part of the world. If you want a beer, you might have to drive to the next county. But for a retiree who wants a garden, a fishing pole, and a paid-off home, Stone County is the sweet spot. Number 3. Deming, New Mexico. If you have ever driven along I-10 near the Mexican border, you pass Deming. It looks like a dusty truck stop. But venture a few miles north or south, and you find the Deming Ranchettes. Decades ago, developers subdivided the desert into thousands of half-acre lots. They sold them for nothing. Today, you can still buy these lots for $1,000 to $3,000. Luna County is surprisingly friendly to alternative living. While they have rules, they are used to people living in RVs and non-traditional structures. It is a haven for snowbirds who migrate here in the winter to escape the northern cold. It is flat. It is vast. The Florida mountains, pronounced Florida, jaggedly rise in the background. The catch? It is dusty and wind-blown. And unlike the romantic desert of Terlingua, Deming can feel a bit industrial. There isn't much culture. There is a Walmart, a lot of fast food, and a lot of dust. It also has a high poverty rate and issues with border traffic. You will see Border Patrol everywhere. It's a militarized zone in some ways. You have to be careful about security. Don't leave valuables visible in your yard. And the Ranchettes' roads are often just dirt tracks. After a rainstorm, they become impassable mud pits. You need a vehicle that can handle it. But financially, it is unbeatable. If you have absolutely zero savings and need a place to land immediately, Deming is the emergency parachute. You can buy a lot on a credit card and move there tomorrow. Number 2. Chiefland, Florida. Florida? Affordable? Usually those words don't go together anymore. But we are talking about the Nature Coast. Levy County. This is the armpit of the Florida Peninsula, where the swamp meets the Gulf of Mexico. It is miles away from the Disney tourists and the Miami influencers. Levy County is rural, agricultural, and surprisingly loose with regulations compared to the rest of the state. While you can't just build a cardboard box, they are very friendly to mobile homes and pole barns. You can find land here that is heavily wooded, live oaks dripping with Spanish moss for prices that have vanished from the rest of the state. The advantage here is the climate. If you hate the cold, you will never shovel snow again. You are near the Suwannee River and the Gulf for fishing. The catch? It is Florida man territory. It is swampy. The mosquitoes are the size of birds. The humidity is oppressive. Your clothes will never feel fully dry. And hurricanes. You are near the coast. If you live in a shed or a tiny home, a Category 3 hurricane will turn your house into a kite. Insurance will be a nightmare if you can get it at all. Most people here just self-insure, which means they pray. You also have to deal with the local wildlife, alligators in the ditches, snakes in the woodpile. But if you need to be in a tropical climate on a pauper's budget, Levy County is the last stand. Number 1. Cloudland, Georgia. Located in the northwest corner of Georgia, bordering Alabama. Chattooga County offers a rare combination: beautiful mountains, the tail end of the Appalachians, and incredibly lax enforcement. There are pockets here, especially up on the ridges near Cloudland Canyon, where people live in yurts, sheds, and converted buses tucked away in the rhododendrons. It is visually stunning. Deep gorges, waterfalls, and changing leaves in the fall. Land is still affordable because there are no major industries here. It's quiet. The catch? It is the Deep South. Politics and religion are central to life here. If you are a weirdo hippie, you might feel isolated. And like the other mountain towns, the roads are treacherous. But the biggest catch is the economic depression of the area. There are no jobs. If you need to work part-time to supplement your Social Security, your options are Dollar General or Dollar General. However, if you are fully retired and just want to be left alone in the woods to build your fortress of solitude, Chattooga County offers the path of least resistance. So there you have it. 10 places where the American government hasn't completely strangled the concept of property rights. 10 places where you can buy a piece of dirt, put up a shed, and tell the bank to go to hell. Is it glamorous? No. Will you have to deal with mud, bugs, heat, and weird neighbors? Absolutely. Will you have to learn how to fix a septic leak at 2 a.m. in the rain? Probably. But you will have something that the guy in the suburbs with the $3,000 mortgage doesn't have. You will have solvency. You will have the ability to sleep at night knowing that no matter what happens to the economy, no matter how high inflation goes, You have a roof that is paid for. They call it poverty by their standards. But if you can wake up on your own land, drink coffee on your own porch, and owe nothing to anyone, I call that freedom. Which one of these desperate paradises would you choose? Are you a desert rat in Arizona or a mountain hermit in Missouri? Let me know in the comments. And if you are planning to sell everything and move to a shed, hit that like button. I'll see you in the next one. Assuming I haven't moved to Terlingua myself.